To me, a veteran is someone who has gone to war and sacrificed their lives for us Americans.
Like a hero or someone who protected our freedoms.
I think a veteran is someone who leaves their family and friends and puts their life in danger to fight for us.
Kind of a brave person.
It's like a hero, somebody who's fought for my freedom, and they've just protected us for like my whole life.
They're giving up all what they have just for us, and it's just, they're really good people.
We should respect them very highly because they risk their lives for us.
I think that we should be thanking them every time that we see them.
Treat them with extra special, actually.
I was born in 1924, and in 1929 we moved to Eden Prairie. This is where I grew up on Highway 5, half-mile east of Flying Red Horse filling station. That's my mother and father. He's in the service. That's my brother on the right, my sister on the left, and my uncle, who was a CB. My dad put up a backboard in the back part of the house, and I shot baskets in the summertime. And I was captain of the Eden Prairie high school team for 2 years, and I was also all-conference for 2 years. I graduated from high school in 1942. I was drafted into the Engineers Corps, and we landed on Omaha Beach about D-Day plus 3 months, probably October. Then we went to Point Le Mans. After we crossed the river, I saw my first dead soldiers, both Germans and Americans, and kind of give you the idea, well, this is for real, you know, this is really something that's happening. It's not just dreaming about it or thinking about it. Here I am. And then the first shells that came over from the Germans was very scary and nerve-wracking, but you know, you finally get used to that, and you know what to do instinctively, and the fear, there isn't time for fear. You just have to move and act. And so we were foxhole buddies. We'd dig our hole, and one would dig a while, and the other one would watch with his rifle. That was touch and go. Prior to the next encounter that I had met my dad in Paris. He was head of the Signal Corps company in France, close to the front lines. We didn't really know if we'd ever see each other again, you know. Something could have happened to him too, just as well as to me. So it was very nice. After we broke out, broke through the German lines near the Rhine River, they commissioned our squad to be a recon squad and go over and see what was over there, how many Germans were there or whatever, where they were at. So I was surprised by a squad of German patrol that was out, and I was taken prisoner. I had a picture of my dad as a captain in the Army, and immediately after as I showed them that, I got immediate respect. They respected authority. I was taken back to a town called Beauport on the Rhine River, where I was kept overnight, and then marched many miles, I don't know how many, to the prison camp at Limburg, Germany. It was depressing, you know. One of the worst things was the lice, and you slept in straw, and it was infested with lice, and you get them on your body and you couldn't get them off, and we really didn't know what the future was going to hold either, you know. The Americans started getting close, so they decided to close the camp up, and they put a lot of us on that could move on boxcars and shipped us out. I don't know how far it went. I don't think very far. We had to get out and walk. The tracks were blown up. Then when they called the ranks back to start marching in, they didn't checked the numbers, and so I waited till he left, and then at dawn I knew where the Americans were. We could hear the 9th Armored north of us, and I made my way up to the American lines. I was looked at and put in an ambulance, and we started back to a MASH unit, and our driver took the wrong turn. We crossed a little stream, and we went down the road the way we thought that we were supposed to go, and on our left we saw a group of Germans marching, and we thought, well, they'd just been captured. And then the next group that was with them had German bazookas on their shoulder. And I got to give we had a second lieutenant with us, with the driver. Got to give him a lot of credit. He commanded the driver, turn around and aim back for whence we came. So we got back to the American lines. Now there, my heart was up in my throat because I wasn't prepared for that. I was steeled for a lot of I knew when action was coming usually, but this was something that was when I was relaxed and I had my shoes off. It took quite a while to get my feet back in shape again. I was really fortunate I didn't get infection. I don't know how that happened. They were almost like hamburger, and they were bleeding all over and everything. But anyway, there was a ruling that POWs didn't have to go back into the front lines again. So I was sent home, got a medical discharge.
I was born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, 1948, at Fairview, Southdale. Growing up, I was kind of following my dad's footsteps. He was in communications. He worked for AT&T. And then my dad's dad was a Marine, my dad was a Marine, and I was a Marine. During that time of 1963, 64, 65, and 66 is when the Vietnam War broke out. And I was working, but the Army came knocking on my door, and my buddy and me says, well, we don't want to go in the Army, so we went in the Marines. And I followed my parents, my grandfather's footsteps. I knew that by joining the Marines that I would be going to Vietnam. My buddy and me, Bob Gates, enlisted in the Marines in February of 1967. And someone decided to have 150 Marines all join in together, and we were sworn in at the old Met Stadium as the Minnesota Twins Platoon. I landed Christmas Day of '67 in Vietnam. Good Christmas. I spent 2 Christmases there. The living condition when I was there, you probably had the low of probably 85, and the hottest I was there got to be about 124. You got acclimated to it really quick. And I was only 148 pounds soaking wet when I went over there, and I think I lost about 10 pounds the first month I was there. And so salt tablets and trying to beef up on a lot of breads and stuff got me back out to about 153 pounds. And then with all your gear and all kind of stuff, it's about 200 pounds. My responsibility was to keep in communications with the main base, keep in communications with the other squads, keep in communications if we needed artillery support or air support. First Purple Heart was in February of '68. I got hit in the left arm, and I got hit in the left shoulder. It wasn't very serious, but I ended up going to sick bay. They pulled the metal out of my arm, they pulled the metal out of my back, they cleaned it off, all that kind of stuff. Just kept me there for a day, and I went right back to my crew right after that. The second Purple Heart I received was in May of the same year. We were on an operation. As soon as we hit the ground, the first 4 guys in my squad were killed instantly. Squad leader, the corpsman, and me ran over to one side there, and when we ran to side to die, was when I got hit. Mortar round landed about 10 feet to my left, and a piece of shrapnel went into my right knee and shredded it. I remember the corpsman, I think his first name was John. He was very concerned with me. He saved my life. He was wounded also. All of us were wounded in that group. And he got shot in the arm, and I was concerned about him, and he stayed with me the whole time. They couldn't get to us. We had plenty of water, plenty of ammunition for a couple days. The Viet Cong and the NBA were probably less than 100 yards away from us when we first got in there. We were there for 3 days. I just didn't say the other 2 because it was just a lot of action. And there's a lot of stuff that happened that I don't talk about, and things that I don't care to talk about. You were scared. Everybody's scared. You think about home. You think about your fellow Marines there. You thought about the Marines that were in front of you that were already dead. And you wonder if you're ever going to get out alive. From the time I got hit in May, I ended up back there probably the middle of August. So it was a therapy for 2 months. They had a great therapy there, and nurses and doctors and stuff, and they saved my leg. 'Cause I thought I was going to have to get cut off. Anytime anybody is hit twice and all that kind of stuff, you're not allowed to go back out into the forward area of the fighting. You can go back to the headquarters company and do mailroom, be a clerk, and all that kind of stuff, which was what I did. After I came back from Vietnam, I was in San Francisco, which was not a very good experience because the war protesters, they threw rotten food at us, and they called us baby killers, and they spit on us, and right at the airport. I'm very proud of being a Marine. You never forget it. It was great. There was tough times, but you had to check it out.
He was born in St. Louis Park.
He was a pretty active little guy, you know, as a toddler and stuff, you know. He liked to be outside playing with the neighborhood kids and stuff like that. Hockey. That was his first love, was hockey. He would always want, that's when the North Stars were still here. So when he was little, that's all he thought of. He was going to grow up, he was going to be a North Star. See? My dad had a lawn tractor, and he loved to ride that lawn tractor when he was smaller, you know. When he was old enough to operate it and stuff. My dad would take the mower off, you know, so he wouldn't get hurt with the mower part of it. And then he'd drive all over. My dad had cut a path out in the woods and stuff for him. They always called him the Whistler because he was whistling all the time, you know, happy-go-lucky. They could hear him the mower running. He's just back there whistling away, having a great time, you know. Kind of out of the blue, he decided, well, I'm going to join the military. So that was his choice. It's a little bit surprising to us, but and why he chose the Marine Corps, I don't know. I think it was something that he wanted to prove to himself, maybe more than anything else. It's a man thing, or a guy thing, I should say.
The camaraderie.
Yeah. They're all pretty close. They're all pretty nice bunch of kids, you know, very respectful to us. But you get them wound up, and then there's a different story. If you can imagine what a bunch of Marines are like. He was interviewed by Fox Cable News Network. They were embedded with his group. Tyler had called us, it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, our time, you know. Scared the daylights out of us then because we knew he was in Iraq. We didn't know where, but, you know, when the phone rings that early in the morning. And it was Tyler. He said, turn the Fox channel. He said, we're going to be interviewed. He said, turn the TV on.
Hi, I'm Lance Corporal Tyler Fay from Eden Prairie, Minnesota. I'm not necessarily really frustrated. I take this time as I can, you know, try to catch up on some sleep, you know, write some letters home, take care of your body.
Yeah, but what about getting this job done?
You just comes along, you know, being a Marine, you know, sometimes you got to, you know, just roll with what you get. Sometimes you sit in for a little while and, you know, you just got to take orders as they come.
This hurry up and wait thing, you're used to that?
Yes, I am. Hurry up and wait is like Marine Corps motto almost.
Yeah. All right, well, Rick, Carol, some brave Marines out here doing some brave work.
He loved it. He enjoyed it, you know.
He was due for
discharge. Would have been in August of '04, and he was killed in April. And I had just gotten home that evening, after work, and we hadn't even got in the house. I was kind of chatting with the neighbors that were outside, and then they pulled up, and I knew right then. These are not the people I want to see. When he was killed there, they thought by sniper, shot in the back of the head. And I know even after being back the first time, he really didn't say that. He didn't regret going in the Marine Corps. I mean, he never mentioned anything about doing that, or wish that I would have done this instead of that, or something like that. No, he wasn't. He really seemed very happy with what he was doing. Very proud of what he was doing. You hear the casualties and stuff like that. After going through it, to know that these people have got to go through what we've been through. It's hard, even 3 years later.
We want you to honor, respect, and cherish Tyler.
We're very proud of what Tyler accomplished.